One is a beautiful orphanage called China Little Flower. If you look on my website, daniellerose.com, there's a link to their website. It has to be very discreet because anything that's on the internet is screened by the government, so they can't really explain the reality of all the circumstances they find themselves in, but you'll get a glimpse of the work that they're doing. In China, 1/3 of the state-run orphanages have 100% mortality rate for the babies that are there. And so China Little Flower is run by an American couple. They have 6 kids of their own, and they've lived in China for over 20 years now, and 1 child at a time they receive to be able to help the baby live instead of die. And they rely on God's divine providence, but they can't tell anyone they're doing it for the faith because they'd get shut down, and they can't tell anyone about what's really happening with the orphanages in China because they'd also get shut down. So it's a very mysterious, it's a very complex, hidden yes to God. And so if you ever feel called to respond to help them with the children they're caring for, please look them up, ChinaLittleFlower.org. In addition, if you go on my website, there's also rosaries that are up there, and there's a beautiful nun that I met who her whole ministry is that she hides women in her apartment who don't want to have forced abortion. In China, all single mothers are considered illegal pregnancies because the one child has to be on the man's card. So if you're a single mother and you're pregnant, the baby will not live. Moms hear about Sister Pamela, and they, I shouldn't have said the name for the video, but anyway, they find Sister, and they hear about her by word of mouth, and they show up at her apartment. And under the disguise of teaching her English students, they hide there. And Our Lady of Guadalupe has protected them. It's totally illegal. It's like people hiding Jews in their home during the Holocaust. And they stay there for the duration of their pregnancy to be able to help their baby survive instead of be killed through forced abortion. While they're there, they make rosaries. And so if you'd be interested to be able to buy a rosary, I sell them on behalf of the moms underground here. And so you can look them up on the website, and I just send them from my apartment. There's no description on the website because the government would trace that, so I don't say any description, but that's the story behind the rosaries. So if you ever want to share that with anyone, I'd be really grateful for just the word being spread to help these moms. So in conclusion, I want to share one last song, which is a song about how we're all called to become saints. And for me, the journey of surrendering to God's will in my life and discovering His will for my vocation has been a journey. And through that, He's helped me understand that instead of just the idea I have for myself of how I want to be for Him, I have to let Him love me as I am and help that in receiving that love, that it calls me forward into becoming who He wants me to be. And so this is a song that is about that, and it's about the call for each of us to become a saint according to the will of God. So I pray that it will be on this day of Blessed Mother, that we would take hope that God does have a plan for each of us. He wants us to become a saint, and that He wants us to surrender in obedience to His will in our lives in order for that to happen.